Hello guys, and welcome to the second part of the editor tutorial. Today we're going to go over this handy dandy little data tab. We're just going to pull up the map from last time. So there's a few different things we can do in the data tab. I'm going to start by going over the different areas. Let's start with units. The units tab is where you have any of the units you can physically control in the game. These are any moving things as well, so your standard worker, archers, wolves, airships, etc. The next tab is the buildings tab. And this is where you have all your constructible buildings. Abilities is a much wider scope. This has spells in it. This has the commands to attack, to move, to load things, to build units, to upgrade to fortress. If it's an ability, then it's here. Upgrades are the effects of certain abilities. If you will go to abilities for a second. Let's see here. Range upgrade. The range upgrade applies a modifier to units. In that case, it is range here, where it affects multiple units and increases their range. Modifiers are also very different. This is probably one of the most useful things for modded maps. With the modifiers tab, you can make various triggers. The ones that start in the base game are the damaged, from a kind of poison effect, heal aura from the healing wards and nodes sent down by priests, invisibility from things like the invisibility spell, slow field from the slowing ward. Now we're going to go over a few of the different things in each one, some of the highlights. If you see here, you can change everything from the name to the HP, all of the fundamental stats, the movement speeds. You can change how much damage goes through armor, the minimum damage that it can deal depending on how much armor there is, bounce power. When attacking them, it will send the units flying. You can make it so it has an AoE attack, like dragons over here. Dragons have a 0.2 AoE. You can change the size, the vision. For buildings, there's repair rate you can modify. You can change the visuals, so the size of the circle, the description. You can add experience levels if you're making heroes. I'm going to show an example of all of this in just a moment. Aiming speed, or animation speed. So if you want to make it look like something's moving extremely fast, you guys only moving like 2 tiles a minute for your own amusement, I suppose you could do that. Here's where you can put all the commands. I could make a dragon repair building if I wanted, just by adding that to it. You make it so it has a gold reward, so killing this unit will give the player who does so money. You can create a limit for the number of units of that you can have. There's different true-false statements you can also have. Is passive. It won't attack unless you hit a click or specifically click on an enemy unit. For things that have AoE, you would have things like hits friendly or hits enemy. You can have it be able to attack the ground like a catapult. This is a very important one. You can't attack flying. You can have melee units attack flying units if you have this hit. Something like a catapult, for example, can attack flying. It also does not have heat seeking, so it will not go after the enemy. Controllable is an important one. If this box is not clicked, you're not actually able to do anything with the unit. It will just kind of sit there and do its own thing. if you're having heroes, XP from own kills is fairly important. It means you have to kill something with that unit to get the XP. Allies get experience is something along the lines of you have 5 units together, one of them's a hero, one of the other 4 units gets a kill, your hero's gonna get it if they 4 units have that clicked. And there's a lot of different things you can do. Flying, unique, and heroic. This is where a lot of the different modifiers are. Undead, biological, beast, human. No collision is something like you don't want it to have a hitbox. Anything can just walk straight through it. Invisible. For invisibility, it will make it so you have to have detection to see it constantly. Like the Shadow Wolf, a unit that is no longer playable or usable, has constant invisibility. Invincible will remove the health bar over it. For buildings, it's essentially all the same things, except an important thing to know about buildings is the size. For the size, this will change how many tiles it takes. If we take the Advanced Workshop and put it down to a size of 1, and try to place it down, if I can see it anywhere, you'll see it takes up 1 tile. We can place as many of those right there as we want. Alternatively, we can change the size on that to anything larger, let's say 10, with a max of 5 it seems. Make it take up 5 spots instead of the normal 4. We're just going to go back and switch that back to 4. Abilities. There's several different kinds of abilities if you look in the type section right here. There's make units, make buildings, idle, hold position, attack, cancel, and move. Some of these are very specific for the kinds of things they do, like teleport for instance. The most common spell type whenever you're doing a modded map or whenever you're looking at a modded map is most likely going to be the universal section. Things like Flame Strike would be universal. Any spell dealing damage tends to be one of those. Fireball, Fire, Heal is a universal. Invisibility is a universal. If you have a spell, that's most likely going to be universal. Smash as well. You can also do something right down here. You can add a gold cost to a spell, so whenever you cast a spell, you can give yourself negative golds, meaning it will give you 20 golds if you cast a spell. Alternatively, you could make it cost gold to do the spell. You can adjust the AoE, the damage, the projectile damage. I'm going to go over a lot of these things in more detail individually. For right now, I'm going to open up a different map of mine to give you some examples of modifying buildings and such. There we go. So here's my map, Probes versus Zealots. As you can see, there's custom little probes here. There's a Doom Forge. All of these you can make yourself if you want. I'm gonna look at 2 main things for right now. The first is going to be right here, the Zealot string. Here you can see I edited some of the different stats on him, changing the HP, mana, armor, supply. But as you go down, you can see some of the different things I did to create this guy right over here. When you come down to the commands, you'll see I gave him a few abilities. I gave him a modified attack, an ability to redeem golds, an ability to scan, an ability to go invisible. So let's look at each of those real quick. For the invisibility, it's just like the mage's invisibility, except with a modified description. It does not have mana cost like the base game, and it has a longer cooldown. For the modified attack, I made it so it has a mana cost of -20, so every time you hit something with your A click, it will give you 20 mana, which you can then, if you go all the way down here to the R's, go to redeem gold. With the Zealot, you can cast the spell to exchange the mana for the equivalent amount in golds. This is how I have it, so whenever the Zealot's attacking something, it will get you golds. I also have an ability here, Scan. It's a universal command where it's a summoning ability. It will summon a bird anywhere on the map due to the range, and it doesn't require vision where you place it, it just has to be within the range. The range is set to an obscenely high number, and it will summon right over here a bird, or the ID for a bird, in which case I have it as Scanner. It is invincible, so it can't die. It has a vision of 20, and it is also invisible with a lifetime. So it will go over a place with a vision of 20, scan for a little bit, and then die. I'm going to go over a lot of the individual functions of these, such as why I have things like warp nodes for auto building buildings in separate videos. I'm also going to go over popular things in the map editor, such as auto spawning units or wave systems. That's it for right now, guys. I hope you guys subscribe and enjoyed the video.